Good morning, everybody. You're very welcome to the Guaranteed Irish Business Webinar. Today we're talking, as usual, about sustaining communities through enterprise, but the subheading is all about improving competitiveness and leveraging entrepreneurship. I'm delighted to say that we're being sponsored by Enterprise Ireland on this whole Lean program, and it's fascinating to see all the benefits that the Lean program can bring us in our businesses, and we hope that you get something out of it today. In terms of going forward, we have some super speakers who know and have lived the lean life in the sense of supporting and making their own businesses more competitive and changing their cultures to a whole lean philosophy. Joining us today, we have Robert Hernan, Senior Lead Advisor with Enterprise Ireland, Martin McVicker, Managing Director of Combilift, and Dominic Loke, who's the Business Transformation Lead with the Kerry Group. Just a little bit about Dominic is the Business Transformation Lead for Kerry's Group Consumer Brands and the Consumer Brands business in Ireland and the UK, responsibility for the development and implementation of the Kerry's Lean Transformation Programme within their Consumer Brands manufacturing site. We all know how successful Kerry are. You're very welcome, Dominic. Pardon me. And Martin McVicker is Managing Director with Combilift. And as you know, Martin, at 29, was the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and the company has since won many prestigious industry awards for its ever-growing range of products and operations. Joining Martin from Combilift is Peter Boyle, who's the Lean and Quality Manager. Guys from Monaghan, you're very welcome today to join us. Thank you.
Good morning.
And Robert Hernan, who probably needs no introduction if you've gone down the Lean program or if you're considering going down the Lean program with the help of Enterprise Ireland. He's the lead Lean advisor in Enterprise Ireland's Lean Operational Excellence team, currently supporting Enterprise Ireland's food companies in implementing Lean transforms. You're very welcome, Robert, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. So without spending too much more time, our objective here in Guaranteed Irish is to bring you new ideas and new ways of keeping you competitive in a very tough environment at the moment with COVID. So I hope you get something from this, and what I would say to you at the very beginning is send in questions and answers on the bottom of the chat box there, and we will take the questions and answers when we talk to the guys towards the end. So the agenda for the day is the guys are going to present how it works in their experience, and then we're going to do a chat around how it, from a non-lean experience a company, how to get going and where they saw the pitfalls, the challenges and the opportunities and the benefits, most importantly, because at the end of the day, it's about being more competitive, getting more business and changing a culture that will keep you in business. So without further ado, Colm, you might move me on there. We bring in the likes of Robert, who's going to talk to you and bring you through the process in a very quick way. And just before Robert kicks in, remember Enterprise Ireland has money for this, guys. So listen to Robert and get that money to help you with your business, because that's what it's all about, helping each other. All together better at the end of the day. Over to you, Robert.
Thanks, Brid, and thanks very much for having me on this morning. Delighted to talk about what we have in Enterprise Ireland for Lean and what it can do for your companies and, as you say, your communities, sustaining communities. It's a great tagline. So this morning I very quickly want to just introduce you to the ideas of Lean, what it can do for your company and the benefits it can bring to you. And the best way to illustrate this is to talk some case studies. Our Derrin Distillery, gin distillers in Tullamore, 2 years ago, they were producing 498 bottles a day. And an order came in for 15,000 by the end of the month, and they couldn't meet it. And they're going, God damn it, we're not going to be in that position again where we can't meet a big order. And they need to increase their capacity. And they says, right, what are we going to do? So they got in touch with the local enterprise office, who put them in touch with a lean consultant, and they increased their capacity or production from 498 bottles a day to over 1,500 bottles a day, without spending any money on people, equipment, or space. So how did they do that? So next slide, please, Colm. Lean and what it can do for your organization. There's a lot of simple, very common sense tools and techniques that can help you. So here's a warehouse. It's disorganized, it's in a bit of a mess, it's unsafe, and not a great place to work. And one of the key tools in Lean is a thing called workplace organization. So next slide, please. Decluttering your places, sorting out the essentials from the non-essentials, putting these pieces of equipment in their place, setting in order, and transforming a place. So suddenly you've got a place that is, we'll just go back for a second. We've got a place that's it's organized, it's safe, it shows up problems. And when you can see problems, you've got an opportunity to improve. And it enhances the work environment. So improves morale and reduces stress, increases safety. Next slide, please. And the workplace organization facilitates visual management. So visual management is where we want to be able to have a transparent sharing workplace where you're able to manage visually. You're able to see whether we're in a good condition or not a good condition, like we saw on the previous slide, whether we're having a good day or a bad day. So real information to everybody working in the place about how they're doing today. Are we on target? Are we not on target? And then other communications to everybody. So again, you're engaging with your workforce, helping them get the best out of what they could do for the business. Next slide, please. And standardization. Standardization is about reducing the variation that you have in your processes and your practices. It's an agreed upon set of procedures that standardize how you do things. So suddenly results become predictable. Everybody knows, like, you know, you've set standards, like the best way of working out how to do things. And you've also asked your employees to set the standards, to set the workplace methods. So you've engaged them and they're empowered then to come up with the best way of doing things. Next slide, please. And when you've set a standard, you've now got the springboard for continuous improvement because you've defined what good is. And now the challenge on each of the employees in the business is how can we make it better? And we're going to make things better continually. Sustainable culture of continuous improvement in an organization is what we're looking for in the businesses. Next slide, please. And one of the key tools then for generating continuous improvement is practical problem solving. So what we want in an organization and a business is a workforce of problem solvers. Very simple tools and techniques that are going to help them identify what are the root causes in an issue and coming up with solutions and countermeasures to improve those. And then they can go on to the next improvement. So it's problem solving daily. So show up the problems and then give them the tools and techniques here to resolve those problems. Next slide, please. So I'm going to very quickly look at an improvement project, a problem solving situation in Top Flight. Their accounts payable had an issue at the end of the month where it was all stressful, they were very busy, and it wasn't a nice place to be. So they stepped back and looked and says, right, what are we doing it, how are we doing it, and how can we improve it? Next slide, please. So they mapped out the process from step one to the final production of their end of month accounts. Next slide, please. They identify some of the issues that might be involved in the process and call them problems. Is it processes? Is it people? Is it the systems that we have? Next slide, please. Then they did a thing called Pareto analysis, identifying the vital few rather than the trivial many. What's the most important things we need to address? Next slide, please. And based on that, they reduced the workload by 70%. No more complaints from their suppliers. Next slide, please. So lean. Lean is about helping companies get the best out of their people and their businesses, helping them to do things quicker, better, cheaper, together. It has to be about the people and helping them do things better. It's about purpose. What is it that you do? What is it that your customer wants? And then it's about the processes, about how you produce your product or service for your customer and when. And ultimately, most importantly, it's about people. Who are the people that are involved in these processes that produce the products and the services? How do we support and engage and respect these people and develop them to be the best people that they can be for your business? And very importantly then, lean is about all business activities within your company, within your business, and it applies equally across all sectors. So we've got some great examples coming up with Combilift and with food, but it applies to solicitors, it applies to pharmacies, health services, any services and manufacturing. Next slide, please. A definition from the National Standards Authority of Ireland on lean is that it's customer focus. It always has to be about the customer, what they want, and being you as a company be able to give them what they want, when they want, in the right amount. Having an involved and motivated workforce, committed individualized teams to the delivering this value and continually improving the businesses and reducing waste. That's broadly what Lean is about. Like, next slide, please. And the benefits to a company. It's going to improve safety, improve your quality, reduce your costs, improve your delivery times. These are your operational performance indicators. What does the customer want? It improves your productivity, reduces your inventory, and probably most importantly of all, motivates people, your employees, and helps develop them to help you to get the best out of your people and your business. Next slide, please. So what we want from Lean is that it's going to move you from being a reactive business to being a proactive business, to help you work on the business instead of in the business, stop you firefighting, bring stability and control to your business, and help you move on. Next slide, please. And as Brid alluded to there's a range of supports from Enterprise Ireland, but also from the IDA, from the UDROS, and your local enterprise office. So there's Lean supports across the state agencies to support you on your journey to Lean. So from starting out with a Lean start, a number of days involved with a consultant, to a more prolonged engagement with the Lean Plus and a Transform, ultimately, hopefully, helping you develop a sustained culture of continuous improvement in your business, helping you achieve excellence. There's a number of offers, I say, from the IDA's Enterprise Ireland. Please get in contact with your local enterprise office or your Enterprise Ireland office, your development advisor, and find out more about these offers. So thank you, and looking forward now to hearing from, and to finish off the story, Derren Distillery. How did they improve from 500 bottles a day to 1,500? They mapped out their processes, all the steps involved in it. They re-engineered their layout, so they got greater flow from the materials coming in to going out. They went to single piece flow from batch production, balanced their line, and tripled their production. As it says, without any money being spent on equipment, space, or people. And that's what Lean can do for your business. It's brilliant. So looking forward to hearing a bit more now from Martin and his fantastic team up in Monaghan and Combilift. And please get in touch with your local enterprise office or your Enterprise Ireland office and find out sports that can help your business. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Robert. And I think Robert has summarized Lean in a really good nutshell. And for Combilift as a company, our manufacturing plant is on the outskirts of Monaghan town. We manufacture forklift trucks. And in our plant that we have here, it's very much a fully fledged manufacturing plant, right from design through to assembly, finish, and shipping of products. So for us, I mean, in terms of, there's so many areas we targeted to make our business more efficient. So on the next slide, you'll probably see, this is maybe where we actually started off on our Lean journey. So our Lean journey as a business started in July 2012. And it was very much facilitated and initiated even by Enterprise Ireland at that time. So we applied through the Lean Transform program. And thankfully, Enterprise Ireland were very supportive of that for our business. At that particular time, we were operating from an older facility. And I think as most businesses, when you start to enter the Lean process, you very much start to focus on projects, how you can actually save in particular areas, because none of our businesses have the manpower available to focus right across the whole scope of a business. So we actually would have started working on projects. The Lean business consultant we brought in was LBS Partners from Limerick. So they were the consultant on site. And in that early stage, our first focus was on one of our production lanes, which is our Aisle-Master articulated forklift truck. And with a continuous focus on that, not just very much week one, it really took a 6-month effort. You know, you don't expect results in the first week or two. So it's going to take continuous effort. But on that production lane, we increased output by 163%. On the same assembly line, we reduced our lead time. And when you think of many of the value that Lean can bring to a business, you know, Robert said, you know, it needs to be very customer centric. And for any business, of course, reducing lead time is really what all our customers want to hear as well. And with the success on that production lane, we focused on another lane, we call it the Combi CB model, very much similar outcomes achieved. And in them early years, it was very much focused on projects initially, certain production lanes, and the learnings we accomplished throughout that lean focused, and it wasn't just at that time Fintan Sherry was heading up our lean team, but it takes the involvement of all your employees to make it a success. You know, it's not just decide to put 1 or 2 people in as your lean champions. It needs all your employees working together to make it happen. And I think, you know, when you hear some of the topics Robert had mentioned, you know, health and safety, you know, efficiency, every employee wants their work area to be more safe. So focusing on improving safety and, you know, identifying a place for everything, and everything should be in a place, that really makes the employee's life much easier. And the more you can make it easier, the more efficient it makes their role as well for the business. And it was through them efficiencies we seen through lean was a big help for us as a company, as we were continually growing our business. And as a company, we've been very much growing, doubling our business every 5 years. And we were outgrowing our current production plant at that time. So we made a decision back in 2015 that we would move to a greenfield site. And during our planning stage, when we were planning this plant, which is 11 acres under roof, we very much took a lot of the lean principles into the facility. And if you take here, for instance, this is a view inside the plant where we have 4 assembly lanes. And you'll see on this here is we've tried to set up the lanes as best as we could feel at the time, where the components are close to the assembly, like you see in a car plant or a car manufacturing facility. But one thing that's really unique about our business, we manufacture a range of customized vehicles. You know, we don't make normal forklift trucks. The forklifts we make, they're unique in shape. You know, the aisle masters and articulated forklift allow it works in very small aisles. You know, so we have really unique products. So trying to set up a production plant that's efficient, not making volume products, is a different story than someone that's making a volume of the same component. And I'm sure there's many of us on this call, your businesses are making quite customized goods, but lean principles are also very helpful and make your business more efficient. It doesn't matter how customized your products that you're manufacturing. And during this lean process or stage in our you know, and it's a continuous process, like no way are we at the end of it. In fact, through Fintan Sherry, we were very much involved with Enterprise Ireland on setting up the Northeast Lean Network, because I think that's one important about lean is we can learn so much from each other. So the networks that are established in your own region are very beneficial to come along, participate, because the challenges of lean, we all have them at different stages in our business. And I suppose for Combilift, okay, we moved into this new production plant in the last 2 years, and we've set it up pretty efficient, but it's never perfect. And I think we're always continuing to strive. How are we going to keep improving our business? How are we going to be more proactive? But particularly, how are we going to strive towards operational excellence? And, you know, for Combilift as a company, our key focus now as a business is we have very much, lean is really one of the pillars where we want to build on operational excellence. And that's right through the organization, not just our production lanes. It's right from order entry to finished product goes out the door. So I'd like to introduce you to Peter Boyle. And Peter Boyle heads up our lean and quality team. And I think that's one important aspect for Combilift as a business. For us, lean quality is the backbone of lean, because if we can continue to improve our quality, lean brings a lot of tools to allow us to improve our quality. So I'd like to introduce you to Peter, and Peter will bring you into some of the details of what we've implemented within the plant. So,
thank you, Martin. Well, I suppose our first slide here with Combi Lean, we are very, very highly engineered. We offer a very wide range of optional extras, and that's where our marketplace is, you know. And what I'd say to anybody beginning the lean journey or looking for assistance with lean is, as Stephen Covey quoted, begin with the end in mind. So for us to continue this growth and for us to still be able to offer the products that we offer to our customers, it's very much a case of developing the skill set within the company and looking at how we can drive forward and how we can utilize the skills that the people that would have built the company, to allow them to move on, to assist people coming into the company. And for us, it's very much a case of trying to take out of the realm of intuition and bring it into reality. Like one of the lean tools, for example, like standardization. So we wanted to make sure that for us to continue to provide a quality product, that everybody had to be on the same page, that we were able to kind of promote guys and develop guys and kind of bring them through the company to offer them progression, to retain them, to also help people coming into the company manage more efficiently and effectively, all while building on quality. So we have developed project management and finance, change management, Lean and Six Sigma. So we encompass the 4 methodologies simply because Lean identifies the areas. Six Sigma offers the precision. So the precision in terms of statistical science, metrics, check sheets, looking at where the waste is centered. The change management end of things is very much where, for us, we want to develop the people and we want to enable the gains to be sustained. So we kind of struggled at the start, as a lot of companies will do, in that we were very focused on the waste and we were struggling to get things to embed in the culture. And it was from engagement with change management and engagement with people that whenever we were kind of finished a project and we walked away from it, that people owned it and that it also offered a lot of empowerment. So the project management is critically important to our function here, simply because if you can't document it, you're wasting your time. If you can't document it, you don't have anything to go back on to track your progress, to look and also see where you could have improved. Even in terms of change management, we would have found that to really assist in us embedding in the culture, the projects, we now have a project management approach where we meet with stakeholders. We have a very robust auditing plan after projects are implemented, simply because it creates communication. So the project management end of things really does track project scope and warns us of project creep. So that's very important. But again, it's about creating the project team. So next slide, please, Colin. So all of this leads to high-end quality. So for us, we want to reduce our production costs. We want to reduce our production costs all the while offering higher quality. So for us, it's really important that quality isn't just the product, quality is also of the process as well. So quality of process means that people know what they're doing, they understand what they're doing. There is a way of putting your hand up to say, listen, I need some help, or a way of putting your hand up to say, I can actually think of an improvement to this process. And it's creating that knowledge amongst all managers, all supervisors, all team leaders, all members throughout the entire value stream, that this is creating value of process, and value of process and quality of process means that we are going to deliver a very highly quality product to the customer. As it says on the slide, we firmly believe that a high quality product equals customer retention. That's simple as that, and that starts with the operator. That starts with the operator and follows right through the value stream. And if you could go to the next slide, please, Colin. That leads on to operational excellence. So we are very fundamentally aware that continuous improvements cannot be sustained without operational excellence. And very simply put, the definition of operational excellence is so everybody can see value right from the start of the process to the customer. And being able to see the value and being able to see the flow from the start to the customer enables us to fix the flow before it breaks. So it's going back to what Robert was saying about his visual management boards and the importance of visibility among processes and among production lines, and having that communication tool. It's critically important to enable us to talk amongst each other, to talk amongst departments. Combilift very much has taken down the walls between departments, and the silo effect that some companies do tend to see can be as a result of poor processes, where because of a poor process, people develop a kind of a way of struggling through it, but create that awareness, create that communication, talk about it, bring it out into the open. It's the only way you can deal with it. So again, operational excellence and creating visibility around the flow enables people to talk. And by people talking, it means that the problems get resolved. So for us, the operational excellence program, we had planned to implement it in March 2020, but naturally enough with the COVID thing, a lot of stuff has been put on hold. But for us, the achievement of a lasting cultural change among the staff, it's very much aware everybody needs to have lean. Lean is not a department or a person. Lean has to be embedded throughout the entire culture and every single task. And what we have found is that we have started this journey with enterprise excellence, that a lot of people are seeing lean and lean awareness and the development of core lean skills, that to see it as progression now, and it's creating conversations, not just among managers, not just among the bottom line as in profits or waste or where we're saving money, but very much a case of operators are going to supervisors with suggestions, team leaders are going to operators, and it's creating that a kind of buzz around it, that people have always done it. And why? Because they've always done it that way, but they have another method or they have another idea. And for us and for the lean team in Combilift, we find ourselves more in the role of a facilitator, where just by talking with the people and getting involved and creating that communication, very often they have that solution themselves. Sorry, so that's in a nutshell. I would say for anybody thinking of starting it, begin with the end in mind.
Okay, so thanks for that, Peter. Very passionate about it. It's great to see such engagement from the employees. So Peter, Martin would be thrilled with that. But also, I think it's a great way of empowering the staff and making everybody take responsibility. And look,
could I add to that, Brid? Like, not only you can see the passion from Peter, but we have made a decision. Many of our lean champions, they're not supervisors or they're not managers. And I think sometimes many businesses think that their lean champions should be the manager. In fact, I think if you can bring in lean champions that's under management level, then the other employees will engage much better with the lean champions. And I'm sure you would probably agree, Robert, as well with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's great to see that, and it makes a huge difference. And I saw some of your slides there earlier, guys, from Combilift. If you'd actually just move into my house and tidy it up now, I'd be thrilled with that. Because it's definitely an organised brain, and I suppose an organised, and we know ourselves, we even declutter on a most domestic level, we feel lighter, we feel we can move on, we can go to the next step. So I really see the value in it, and it's been really enlightening for me. I really want to get Dominic Loke in here from the point of view of the Kerry group and apply it maybe to the foods, if you don't mind, business. Dominic, maybe you just give us a little bit of an overview in how you've applied lean, and then I want to do the questions. There's a lot of questions coming in here and I want to get to them, so I want plenty of time for that. But Dominic, off you go there.
Okay, thanks for the introduction, Brid, and thank you, Robert, Martin and Peter, for the presentations up to this point. They've been very insightful, even from a person who's hugely interested in lean like myself. And in the interest of questions, I'll try to keep my section short and sweet. So as previously mentioned, my name is Dominic Locke, and I'm the Business Transformation Lead within the Consumer Brands-based division of Kerry Group. So as a lot of you might know on this call, Kerry Group are the biggest taste nutrition company in the world. We have 26,000 employees across a global footprint, and I work within our Consumer Brands-based division. And part of my role, I'm responsible for the implementation and the ongoing development of our lean transformation program, which we call the Kerry Production System, or KPS for short. And over the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what lean transformation means to us within Kerry, so what the Kerry Production System is, and more importantly, what's its purpose? Why do we invest resources into our Kerry Production System? Then I will just focus in on how we've implemented KPS in our Listowel manufacturing facility in Kerry, sharing with you kind of the phases of implementation that we have seen come with the lean transformation journey, before rounding off at the end with some of the benefits we've seen from our lean journey as well. And just to put it into a bit of perspective, also, when I reference our Listowel manufacturing facility in Kerry, that's where we manufacture some very well-known butter-based spreads, brands that you might know, such as Dairy Gold, which proudly has the guaranteed Irish logo on its packaging, Kerry Made, Lolo, and Golden Olive. So to kick off, I'll quickly give an introduction into what KPS is, or the Kerry Production System, our lean transformation program. So the Kerry Production System is our take on lean transformation, and it's our system to propel our manufacturing facilities to world-class manufacturing standards and sustain our facilities at world-class manufacturing standards. It's a collection of lean tools and principles that we've brought together into an operating model and slightly adapted and modified to suit our industry and to suit our operation, which should be very commonplace across various lean programs, whether it's KPS in the Kerry Production System or TPS in the Toyota Production System. We identified the tools that will best suit our industry, and then we've slightly modified them and adapted them to create our Kerry Production System. Another simple way of defining what KPS is, and it's the way I like to communicate it the most, is put very simply, KPS, the Kerry Production System, is our system to continuously improve the overall performance of our manufacturing plants through the development and the empowerment of the employees who work in those manufacturing plants. So as Robert had mentioned, and as Peter and Martin had mentioned in Combilift as well, our lean transformation program and our employee development and engagement, they go hand in glove together. So that is KPS, and just quickly referencing the purpose of KPS. So why do we do it? Why do we invest resources around it? And the purpose of KPS, it's very simple, and it's also something that Robert and Peter and Martin have indicated to already. The purpose of our lean transformation program is to deliver our customers and our consumers satisfaction. That is why we do it. That is why we invest resources in it. And we do that by putting the customer at the heart of all activity that happens within our manufacturing environments. And we do that by asking a very simple, but yet powerful question of all activity that happens in our manufacturing plants. And that is, will this activity add value to our customer? And if that activity doesn't add value to the customer, we then follow a defined process to either try to minimize that activity or ideally eliminate it from our process. So I hope that very quick top-line introduction has given you an understanding into what lean transformation is for us within Kerry, and then why we do it, what's its purpose. So now just quickly referencing our manufacturing facility in Listowel, where we have implemented our KPS, and I would just like to share with you a quick insight on the various phases we worked our way through up to this point. So we started our lean journey in Listowel approximately, I suppose, started it properly 2.5 to 3 years ago. Up to that point, we'd always had lean manufacturing tools and technologies, but we really invested heavily 2 years ago, or started our investment, and we started around training and people development. So at the very start of our lean journey, we invested heavily in the training of all levels in the manufacturing site in Listowel, be it senior leadership, the people who are running the sites, supervisory, team leader, team members, operators, etc. So we invested heavily to develop people's capability and understanding around lean manufacturing, its tools, its techniques. Once we completed our training phase, we then moved on to our standardization phase, where we invested heavily in the standardization of all activities on site. And that's not only the creation of SOPs, but it's going further than that in how we train out SOPs, and not only focusing on showing people how to complete tasks, but investing time and energy in explaining why people are completing the tasks in the way that they are completing them. So rather than simply training, we focus heavily on educating everybody in the Listowel site to create a what we call a standardized work mindset. Once we'd moved through our standardization phase, we then focused on continuous improvement, where we implemented lots of the tools that Robert would have referenced at the beginning of the presentation, very simple but highly effective tools. So tools around root cause analysis, such as 5 whys, or fishbone analysis to break down problems. We implemented practical problem solving to try to bring problem solving closer to the production area and closer to the point of occurrence. And one of the big learnings that we saw in Listowel, that the old analogy of you have to standardize before you can optimize, or no standard, no Kaizen really rang true in our learnings in the Stole, that through the foundationary work in training and standardization really paid off when we started to continuously improve as a business. We were able to get to the correct root causes quicker, and we were able to implement more robust countermeasures to stop our problems coming back again. So just to kind of now bring you through some of the benefits, and I'll be very quick as we touch on the benefits of our KPS program within the Consumer Brands division of Kerry, but the benefits are very impactful and they're very wide ranging, and we've kind of touched on this in Robert's section and as we went through the Combilift slides as well. And when I reference kind of wide ranging, is that we've seen benefits in our lean transformation program in the likes of health and safety. By standardizing tasks and reducing variability, you have less accidents. By investing heavily in a training program and encouraging your employees to solve their own problems, we've seen an increase in employee engagement. From a technical point of view, when we look at customer complaints, by being able to reduce the variability within our manufacturing process and standardizing the output of our production lines, we see a reduction in customer complaints. And when complaints do occur, by having robust problem-solving techniques like effective root causing, RCA, and practical problem solving, we're able to solve those complaints and stop them coming back and becoming repeat items. From an operational point of view, the benefits are many. When you approach your business from a very customer mindset, you're able to reduce waste and take waste out of your operating model. You're able to increase OE. And a good example I would like to share with you from our Listowel plant, that at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, when there was panic buying occurring and the food, I suppose the food supply chain was stretched, to say the least. In our Listowel manufacturing facility, we were able to increase our production by over 30% by pulling on tools and techniques from our KPS toolkit. And we were able to do that very quickly in order to react to the market demand and play our part in keeping the shops, shelves full during that very troubling time at the time. And just the last benefit I would like to highlight to you, because it's the most important one to me, and it's the biggest one that I've seen within our journey in Kerry, is the people development. That when you invest in a lean program, it's not only your business that develops over a number of years, it's the people. The people grow and develop and their careers progress. And we have a motto within Kerry where we really encourage the leaders of the future to develop through our KPS program. They're the people who embrace the tools, who utilize the tools effectively. And it's really fantastic to see people develop along the lean journey as well as the company. So I'm very conscious of time and getting on to the Q&A, but I hope that quick synopsis has given you an understanding of what lean transformation is to us within the Consumer Brands division of Kerry, how at a top line level, how we've implemented it in Listowel, and then some of the benefits we've seen.
Thanks very much, Dominic. I'm going to jump back in here. We've absolutely loads of questions, which is great. People want to know, can we share the slides? We will, of course, at the end of this. How long did it take to see the benefits of implementing a lean program? Can I ask you, Martin and Peter, along with yourself, Dominic, in terms of the return of investment, not just in money, but in time and resources? Because obviously it's a big mindset to invest and go down this journey with your business.
Yeah, I suppose just if I kick in, when we started the lean journey in 2012, it did take a bit of time for us to see a return. You know, we started with project, and the one thing with a project, when you do a project, if you don't complete the project to the end, it's very hard to see the real value. So I think in them early stages, it was a bit of a learning curve for us. But I think, Peter, maybe if you'd like to add now, is when we do put focus, we do see a return quite quickly because we have more systems in place to manage what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely, Martin. What I'd say about running projects is be careful and be very careful of the low-hanging fruit, because it's a quick win. It's a quick win, and it's very, very hard to sustain it because it is low-hanging fruit. Now, what Martin said there about the projects is, you need to audit the projects, you need to manage the projects once they're completed. So for you to sustain the gains, you know, for us to do a project now, we would realize savings on it now almost immediately, but it does take that startup time to get people's awareness around it. And listen, it does take discipline. It really does take discipline to enhance projects and to make sure that they perform after it, you know.
And Dominic, did it take long in the food space?
Yeah, so it's kind of echoing what Martin and Peter would have went through there. But when you start a lean program, you really have to invest heavily in the training of your team. And within the manufacturing sites we have generally large teams, so we invest heavily in training and standardization, and that does take time to embed. So generally, any wins that you get in that meantime, it's very hard to sustain them because you haven't standardized your approach. And back to the old analogy, no standard, no Kaizen. It's hard to sustain the improvement piece. But post that training and standardization, when you get into your projects, then that's when you really start seeing the benefit, and the benefit is sustainable, i.e. that you avoid slippage. Prior to that point, you'll see you can do a lot of projects, but then when you come back to them in 6 or 12 months time, you'll see that the outcomes of the projects may have slipped down. Post standardization, we've seen that stops a lot of the slippage when you've built up. So in short, at the start, yes, there is low-hanging fruit, but the sustainability of that low-hanging fruit is very questionable. But once you progress through the training and the standardization aspects of it, the returns come relatively quickly. But anybody going on a lean journey, it's very much a strategic decision for a business to make. It's not a flash in the pan kind of item that when you're going into it, you are investing in it and you're going in for the long haul.
A question for you, Peter. How do you evaluate or prioritize the suggestions that come from the frontline employees? I'm sure not all of them are fabulous solutions, and some of them mightn't be great.
No.
How do you manage that?
Well, we would manage that through, we would have, say, a daily meeting. So I suppose the lean department set up what we call the PMO, which is the project management office. We meet on a Monday now. I would say we would measure that simply by quick wins. You know, if it means that somebody coming with an idea or a suggestion from a cell or from a production line or from a stage, if we can get them to embed that improvement with assistance from the lean department, we'll do that. If it's a case that it needs more resources, or if it needs, whether that's a cost resource or whether that's a labor resource from the lead department or whatever, then we evaluate it in terms of, I suppose, efficiency and how quick we can get it across the line. But generally, if it's an improvement suggestion that an operator can do, that's all the better. You know, that would really do. We act on that straight away.
And a question for yourself there, Robert. Where is the best place to start with your lean program? And that's from a small business who is, I suppose, really probably struggling. And I would say this for a lot of smaller businesses within the Guaranteed Irish family, where they're struggling to think, is it worth their while, and are they too small to start? So where would you start in that situation?
So absolutely not too small to start. A one-person operation still has processes. You still have an order from a customer, and you produce a product and a service for that customer, and there's processes that do that for you. So no matter how small or how big you are, it is worthwhile getting on lean. I would always suggest get in touch with your local enterprise office or your Enterprise Ireland office and engage with them. They've got funding, and they will put you in touch with an external trainer or consultant like LBS that worked with Combilift, or Almere that worked with Aldern. They will sit down and look at you and decide, like, you know, look around your processes, listen to what your challenges and issues are, and see where they can get their quick win. But you need your leadership on board from the get-go. This is something that is worthwhile for a company to drive it through. Engage them with the workforce to see what methods, what challenges you can meet. And the quick win reinforces the idea that, look, there's value in this and can be worth doing. And talking about return on investment that was talked about earlier on, there's an order of magnitude return on investment to be gained from this. You're going to spend up to maybe $5,000 initially starting off, and you're going to make those returns on average or whatever. So there can be quick wins, and as the boys are saying, like, you know, this is, you know, we're delighted to get those quick wins and returns for companies, but we then want to see you moving on to more sustained improvement culture through your organizations. Suggestions coming through from your workforce continually that have to be aligned to your business strategy, but then your people will be aware and engage around what the strategy is. So everybody is working towards that operational business strategy.
In terms of the benefits of lean, a question here, is the main benefit an increase in revenue or an increase in manufacturing output? Or is it really a change in culture and they generate the other two? Robert, can I come back to you on that?
Yeah, no problem. Ultimately, it'd be about a change in culture and how you do things. This is what it is about your people and developing your people and getting the most out of both them. And then what will happen is it'll flow that you're going to get more out of your business. Yet you'll be better able to satisfy your customer. Your operational performance indicators will be things like cost, quality, and delivery. Why does a customer come to you to buy your product above going to somebody else? So if you can improve all of those, you're going to have improve your customer satisfaction, and they're going to come back to you with that. So it's going to work in a lot of different ways, where it will undoubtedly improve your revenue, it will undoubtedly improve your outputs, and it will improve your productivity through better engagement with people and development of people. And to sustain that, then it'll be a better workplace to work with, like, when they've enjoyed what they're doing and they're respected and supported.
And in terms of the end customer, what are the benefits to of a lean company? Dominic, can I come to you on that? What do they see as the end result being improved for their business? Is it the price of the product or the service, or is it just a more efficient or time an order for delivery date expedited, as Martin alluded to?
Yeah, no problem. Look, kind of back to the purpose of lean, because it's lean is often associated with taking costs out of a business or purely making a business more efficient. But you would have heard Combilift reference it, and myself and Kerry and Robert at the start. It's really about bringing you closer to your customer and giving your customer what exactly they want. So from the key benefit to the end customers from our point of view would be that we're able to high customer satisfaction, high customer service level. Because through our lean program, we're very focused on giving the customer exactly what they want and when they want it, not any waste that may come in the process in between. So the biggest benefit to the customer, to the end customer, would be an increase in customer service level. They are then byproducts that through lean manufacturing, you do become efficient, which has an impact on cost. But the key benefit would be giving the customer what they want when they want it.
A question for you, Robert, again. Is lean applicable to the service industry as well as the manufacturing industry?
Absolutely. So even just the example I had there on Top Flight, looking at their accounts payable, and they reduced their workload by 70%, reduced their customer complaints to 0. So again, everything like, a service business, I go, who are their customer? What is it they want? How do they put in an order with you? And then how do you deliver that service to them? There's all processes everywhere. So it's understanding what their customers want and being able to provide them what they want and when they want, as Dominic was saying. So absolutely, we see it with law firms. We see it, as I mentioned, in the health service. You see it in government finance offices. Yes, there's lean units across a lot of the hospitals. I won't say there's a culture of lean thinking in all the places, but it's certainly there. It's growing, and we will see it'll bring benefit to the health services, to us all.
Well, we're looking forward to that for sure, considering the environment we're living in. Martin, you alluded to it there a bit. How has COVID impacted on your lean program, either Martin or Peter?
So, what we've been working on over the last number of years, it hasn't impacted what Peter and the team are doing currently, but it has impacted on our next development. We're really focused on how do we really build on operational excellence. And Enterprise Ireland, we've a program with them we got approved earlier this year. And that program is going to involve training all our 600 plus employees on site in lean in their departments. So it has impacted that next step of our lean process, but our day-to-day lean today is the same as it was 12 months ago, and Peter and the team are very, very focused on that still. Just one of your earlier questions there regarding the service business, even though we present as a product manufacturing company, but I could see within our business, we're 22 years Combilift in existence. What happens when a company is in the growing stage, you have different departments put in their own systems. You have your production department runs its own system, the sales department runs its own, there's quality run its own system. And when you have different systems, it's not as efficient as it can be. So lean, how we can bring all these systems together, because for a customer, they want value. And the more central from a system point of view, every business is, the customer feels, this company is on top of my needs. So customer centric, the the quality of what the customer sees, and of course, bringing that health and safety in. Customers really put value on your lean process. So don't be afraid to share what you're engaged in terms of lean. Even if you're only at an early stage, customers really value companies that are investing in lean, because the reality is the reason we all invest in lean is to be there for the long term. If any of us were thinking short term, none of us would invest in lean. So I think customers, when they see business investing in lean, they know they're sustainable, and hopefully we're there to service them in years to come.
That's brilliant. In terms of, thank you very much everybody for joining us. That webinar has just flown. We've actually come towards the end of it. And what I'd like to do is thank our speakers, Peter Boyle and Martin McVicker from Combilift, leaders in the providers of their products worldwide. Huge success story up in Monaghan and giving such great employment and support to their communities. So thank you very much, guys. And also very big thank you to Dominic from the Kerry group, Dominic Loke, who is leading the whole transformation there down with the brands that he mentioned earlier. I really appreciate your insights and your applications of the Lean program. I've learned an awful lot about Lean, and I suppose the guy to go to really for the help is Robert Hernan of Enterprise Ireland, who sponsored this a webinar for the Guaranteed Irish business members. And what I would say to you who are listening in from the Guaranteed Irish side, don't be put off thinking that Lean is for a bigger business, which is one of the things I thought. And I think it's really important for the smaller the business, and the more you integrate this by listening to the guys here today and listening to them for the last few days when we were meeting and discussing this, how important it is to apply it to a small business. And it will save you, I suppose, lots of time in terms of your culture development and empowering your own staff to actually take on the role as if they own, they take responsibility for their own space. So I think that's huge, and it makes them feel part of your organization. And also, obviously, it'll help the bottom line. But I suppose it's more of a cultural shift than a cost-saving shift. And if you're ultimately closer to your customer, isn't that the goal of all of us? Because if we're right beside our customers, we know their needs and we can deliver to them faster than our competitor. So it's been hugely insightful for me. I hope it's been useful for you guys out there in Guaranteed Irishland. And Robert, just to push, I suppose, the opportunities that are there with you, do you want to say where people can contact you or their local LEOs?
Certainly, yeah. If you're an Enterprise Ireland company, you will have a development advisor. Please get in touch with your development advisor or your local enterprise office. There's regional offices around the place. You can get my details from Guaranteed Irish. Anybody who wishes to contact me directly. If you're a small business, less than 10 micro enterprise, get in touch with your local enterprise office. There's loads of support there, and they've had some astounding successes as well. So there's state support across all the agencies for whatever size company or whatever sector you're working in. Get on board with Lean and keep it going. Make yourself a bigger, better company and a better sustained community, as you suggest.
Thank you so much, Robert, and thanks to Enterprise Ireland for the support and sponsorship for today's webinar. Our next webinar, which we'd love you to join us again, is on the 3rd of November at 10 a.m. It's the Guaranteed Irish Business Webinar, continued to be supported by Davy, and it's all about our technology members at that stage, and it's looking at disruption, which I noticed we've left the R out of disruption. So we're definitely disrupting something. So looking forward to people joining us there on our technology forum on the 3rd of November at 10 a.m. and again, sponsored by Davy. In the meantime, for my colleagues across the country, both Cork, Kerry and Monaghan, and in Enterprise Ireland here in Dublin, thank you very much. Grateful as ever, and we look forward to hearing more from you, and continued success.